evening. This is Skip Couch on Diverstalk.com. It's Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. We're got a guest tonight. We'll be talking to her in a few minutes. The club had a taco night last night over in Chimo. We had over 20 people show up, and it was pretty good get together. Some of the divers are going to go out today. I think they're going to dive the cars and maybe the Magiel and maybe do a little diving around Round Island and see what they can find down there for bottles and stuff, I guess. But I haven't got a report from them yet if they actually done the dive yet or not, how the dive turned out. First thing in the morning, it was foggy for till about 10 o'clock, and they probably didn't get out too early. We were supposed to go do some work on an island, but we never got there, so we're going to do that tomorrow. So Friday, Joe and myself were supposed to go out and help buoy the marker for the anchorage area for the village of Clayton, and hopefully we'll get that done. So anyways, that's catch up on the club, I guess. Now I'm going to introduce Erica of Marine Education Tours of Key West, Florida. Hi, Erica.
Hey, how y'all doing? It's beautiful down here in Key West. I figure you all are more used to the cold water diving. We're the Caribbean. Water temperature
our
probably
right now is
86, 87.
Yeah, ours is about 55 up here.
Woohoo! Sounds pretty chilly to me. We don't even have to wear a wetsuit this time of year.
That's warm to us.
Oh, woo! That sounds like dry suit stuff to me. Well, I'm really happy to be here and would love to talk to you about what I do down in Key West, probably the most exotic destination you can go within the continental United States. We have a first-class coral reef down here. And some good wrecks and some good spots like that, but there's something about those coral reefs and the type of tropical fish they attract that just really gets my juices flowing.
Yeah. What size boat do you use?
Well, mine is a private charter, so I use I use a small boat. Mine's a 21-foot cobia. I just take out small groups. And I try to take them to more off-the-beaten-path places. You can always take a dive boat out with 20 or 30 people, and they'll plop you on the location and wave to you to have a good time. But what I offer is a bit more than that. It's a guided tour, actually. And I also like to take you to spots that you probably wouldn't see on the big charter boats. And an added bonus, I wear a full face mask with an underwater wireless communicator. And I give my people diving with me what's called a buddy phone. It's a listen-only unit that they attach to the mask that goes over one ear. So I also feel that I'm a bit of an educator. And I want to tell them what they're seeing and hope to teach them a little bit about the interrelationships between the coral reef and the fish and why it's so important to all of us. I'm really excited about it.
What's the type of fish you see?
What's
the type of fish you see?
Yeah, lots of colorful tropicals, parrotfish, butterfly fish, angelfish, several different kinds, and then of course there's some big ass sport fish like grouper and snapper and cobia and tuna and maybe some dolphins, some turtles, Florida lobster, but lots of very colorful fish. Parrotfish, for example, come in a lot of different bright colors. Something called a porkfish, which bright yellow with black bands around it. And of course we have the corals. corals in all different shapes and sizes, the mounding corals, the mountainous corals, staghorn and elkhorn corals, sea fans, sea whips, purple and orange and red, and just marvelous, marvelous stuff. What do you see up in New York?
Oh, well, uh, our visibility is about 30, 40 feet now, since the zebra mussels come in, and more or less a lot of shipwrecks. We have these zebra mussels, and we have fish. We have bass and pike, carp, and what have you. But our colors are usually a greenish color. We don't have the colors like you do down there, of course. But it's nowhere near uh, as gorgeous, I guess, is what I'd say is what you're in. But we do a lot of photography now, and we've got a lot of movies made up, and we've produced several books on the wrecks and what have you here.
Well,
But I was
we
wondering, how
have a
long does your tours usually last?
Well, I do half day and whole day charters. Usually the morning or the afternoon is a 2-tank dive. We have some wrecks down here too. In fact, we have the Vandenberg, which is a really premier wreck that sits at about 110 feet. Um, the deck is about 90 feet, and then there's some antennae that go up probably the shallowest about 65, 70 feet. So it's definitely an advanced dive. Um, and it's a dive that's good to have a guide on because there can be a bit of current. But right now, conditions are about premier. Our summer is our time down here, and we can, right now, at last dive report, I heard 70, 80 feet of visibility, and sometimes we get up to 100. You know, I grew up in Virginia, so I know what you mean about cloudy water. Until I moved to Key West, I thought all ocean water was brown. Browny green. I never thought twice about it, you know. Now I've become so picky, I won't get in the water if I can't get at least 20 or 30 feet of viz, and we get that in the winter when things are a little more chopped up. But I've gotten quite spoiled with our pristine, gin clear water. Well, at least in the summer, that's when it's awesome. And sometimes, like this last week, it's just been flat calm, and you feel like you go out on the boat and you look down, and it's like you're in an aquarium. You know, this is what my life is about. You know, conditions like we're having this week. It's just makes my heart sing. In fact, that's why I got into this. This is actually a second line of work for me. This wasn't how I got started in life. This was I moved to Key West 15 years ago, and I started out having a pool service. You know, hey, lots of pools down here. And this was a hobby. But I decided that, you know, life's too short, and it was time to make my hobby, my passion, my career. So I actually went back to school. We have a stellar marine biology department in our local college, and now you know, it's diving so different for me now that I know all the names of everything. It's just come alive. Give me 10 square feet of bottom to look in every nook and cranny, and I'm just a happy girl.
Yeah. So you are located right in Key West, then, right?
I'm actually right in Key West, yes. It's a 2x4 island, so it's not far to go. But, you know, until I moved here, I didn't really understand the Florida Keys. It's actually a 120-mile island chain that curves around underneath Florida and then shoots straight west. We are actually closer to Cuba than we are to the mainland of Florida. And until I moved down here, I really didn't understand that. You know, I just thought Key West was underneath Florida. It's a long string of islands, Key West being the last. being the end of the road,
Yeah,
we're.
well, I've been down there.
Oh yeah, it's a tremendous place, you know. And the fishing, if you like to
Yeah.
fish too.
Now, yeah. Now, are you booked up for the summer, or do you have openings
I
for
have openings.
charters, or
I have
have you?
openings, and I would certainly
Good.
love it if people looked me up. My website is
Yeah. Yeah.
www.keywestmarineeducationaltours.com. It's a great website. I've had it recently redone, and another thing I want to put a plug in is coral restoration. Probably you haven't heard much about that up in New York, but down here we're starting to grow corals in coral nurseries. And you know, I could talk for hours about it, but just let me say, if you go out on one of my charters, I can give you a tour of an elkhorn and a staghorn coral nursery where we're actually growing corals to be replanted, or the term we use, outplanted, back out on the uh, the the coral reef. And you know, we all know, all us divers know, that the oceans are in trouble, and this is one way you can see that we're making a difference, you know, to bring it back. I'm very excited
That's
about it.
amazing. I didn't know that you could actually do that. You could
Well,
actually harvest coral and grow it,
you can.
and
These
then move
two
it.
types, elkhorn and staghorn, are the faster growing variety, and they grow pretty fast. The mountainous coral, the ones in the huge heads, as the mountainous coral is, they're very, very slow growing. But elkhorn and staghorn thickets used to be thick down here, and in the last 10-15 years they're very susceptible to global warming and pollution and nearshore water cloudiness and so on. They say the coral reef is like the canary in the coal mine, you know. Meaning that it's very sensitive, and therefore is a first signal that the oceans are in trouble regarding global warming and pollution and so on. The coral reefs are more sensitive, and therefore are more easily damaged by these changing conditions that we're seeing. So we're doing something about it. And you
Do
know,
you
with all
have?
the bad news out there, it's nice to
Yeah,
have
good.
something good. So besides wreck
Do you have?
dives and coral nursery and reef dives, you know, I also offer snorkeling for you non-divers.
Yeah. Do you have black coral and pink coral down there too, do you, or is that
We don't have
too
black
deep?
coral. There are some small patches of pink, but mostly it's red, fire coral, orange. Fire coral is probably the most brightly colored, but a lot of the mountainous coral is in different shades. Even the same species will be in different shades of purple or purplish, red, or yellowish brown, green. It's very interesting. The same species will have different tints to it. So it's a wondrous kind of atmosphere. I have to admit, I feel a little bit like Adam and Eve in charge of paradise down here, tending the garden. Glorious.
Yeah, right. I know that you mentioned fire coral. I know I was taking a picture underwater there in the areas, and I kind of settled down and touched one of them fire corals, and that doesn't
Woo!
feel very good.
Not very much fun. You know, even though I say we don't need a wetsuit this time of year, I like to wear a skin just for that reason. You know, you can easily
Yeah,
brush up against something, and you know, it tells you when you
that
touch
stings.
it. Definitely. I mean, it's not gonna kill you or anything, but it's kind of unpleasant.
Yeah. No, I'm still here, so it didn't kill me.
Yeah. Oh, of course, of
uh,
course.
uh,
Um,
yeah, you take a lot of photos when you're
we
diving.
do. We do. In fact, that's part of my charter. Is I have an underwater camera, and I like to snap a lot of photos as we go. Of course, I snap them of the divers. They always like to bring home some pictures of themselves in the water, as well as what we're seeing. And then I download them on the computer and email them to them. People really like that, you know. And especially if they're from the frozen north, as I call it, you know, the mainland. And you know, if you're from Kansas, you gotta have some pictures so they believe you.
Yeah. Up here in the wintertime, we do ice diving, so that's how hard our water gets.
Wow. Well, you must have a dry suit then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole nother adventure.
Oh, lots of dry suits.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when I've lived down here so long, I've become a total weenie, I have to admit, as far as temperature goes. I'm spoiled. Now the only thing I can do is go further south. Bon Air or Belize.
Yeah, right.
The Caribbean, you know, it's unbelievable. You have to see it to believe it. And the nice thing about Key West is it's still within the continental United States, so you don't need a visa or passport, or it's not complex at all. And of course, a lot of people come down here to party too. But you know, I'm a clean living girl. I'm a nature girl. I'd much rather be out on the boat.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you. We've been to Key West, and it's a different world down there. I found, anyways. There's no parking whatsoever. You got to take the train if you want to do anything down there.
Absolutely. Park it and leave it.
Yeah, so I've been there.
Yeah, little narrow streets. Yep, everything's jammed in. Can't beat the weather, though.
Oh, yeah. It was a little too hot for me, so I'm not used to that kind of temperatures down there. So.
Well, that's true.
When we were down there, it was quite warm.
You got to be out on a boat. Got to be in the water. Then you don't really care. In fact, for some of my snorkelers,
how long you been doing the?
How long have I been doing the charters?
How long you been running these trips? Yeah.
Well, actually, this is new for me to do it as a business. So I've been doing it as a business for about a year. Now, before that, you know, I just took my friends out and did it as a passion. But I've been going for about a year as a business. Like I said, I used to have a swimming pool maintenance business and a solar business. And I did it for 12 years and said, you know what? I'm tired of this. Time to do something else. And the diving was always my passion. And so I just decided I needed to follow my passion. And here I am. I couldn't be happier. Now I've got my captain's license.
You and me think alike.
Sorry?
I say you and me think alike.
Yeah, you know,
I've been doing it for 50 years. So.
Well, I guess you caught on before I did. But I also am a boat captain, and I take groups out, kind of a scuba dive camp for kids. I boat captain for them part-time as well as I'm still taking classes in marine biology. In fact, next semester I'm going to get my dive instructor license, and I'll be able to certify people. And I'm also going to take a class in coral biology. So, you know, I just can't get enough of it. Being in Key West, we have some really good things to learn. In fact, before I started becoming a scientific diver, I actually got a little bored with diving. And I realized I was swimming too fast. Now that I know the names of everything, it's like I see so much more. The more I learn, the more I see. And now I see it's the details, the fantastic details. I love sticking my head in the nooks and crannies under coral heads and looking at all the critters in there. It's, you know, they're still discovering new species. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah, as long as there's no eels in there, that's all. As long as there's no eels inside there.
Yes, you can take a look, but don't reach into any holes. That might be a bad surprise. I also
Yeah.
like to take people out for lobster season. Lobster season opens up at the end of July and then runs all the way to to the beginning of April. And lobstering's fun. You can do it snorkeling or diving, and
How's the art of yeah?
I almost enjoyed lobstering more than I enjoy eating lobster. It's a Florida lobster, not what you're used to up there. They don't have the big pincers.
Right. I mean, yeah. Now, how's the reefs, the artificial reefs doing? I know that the shipwrecks and stuff like that. So I was wondering,
Well,
are they beneficial or are they?
No, I really think they're great. In fact, they sunk the Vandenberg here, a big ship,
Yeah.
several years ago, and it's been extremely successful. In fact, I was standing offshore watching it when the charges went off, and it went down just perfectly, like just the way they planned it. And it's one of my favorite dives, and it's the one I was describing. It's really taken a lot of stress off the reef, and there's also a lot of things growing there now, as well as a lot of fish. It's attracted a lot of big fish. Put some structure down there, and the fish come.
Right.
Then there's some smaller wrecks.
Yeah. Well, there's.
Joe's Tug, and then up the Keys, the Spiegel Grove is a very famous one. Yeah. I'm all in favor of artificial
our treasurer, he's on. Our treasurer, he's on is Ken, and I believe he dove the Vanderbilt, if I'm not mistaken. I seen it on TV when they sunk it, the program when they had sinking it. That was kind of interesting.
Really
we were always talking about doing a artificial reef up here, but haven't got the politicians in favor of it yet up here.
I'll tell you, the guy who did it, Billy Causey was one of them. Anyway, he came and gave a talk in my coral restoration class. Fascinating guy. You get him up to talk to your group, and he's like a killer salesman, man. He will get your people excited. He now runs a company that just does artificial reefs. What a dynamo. Wow. Really great guy.
Yeah. Well, we're thinking about taking the pressure off our shipwrecks by putting something out there as an artificial reef, like tanks, because we have military base nearby, helicopters and things like that. But
right.
We haven't been able to really get the politicians involved enough, I guess.
Well, all you got to do is get someone like him who talks the talk. And anyway, perhaps via email, I'll send you some of his info and connect you up, because what a dynamo! I never would have.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, anything for the cause, I really believe in it. And us divers, we're the ones who see we're the ones who are there. We see what's going on in the ocean. We see it firsthand, and we're the prime advocates for the ocean, because we're there, we're in it, we're loving it, we're enjoying it, and it's part of our job, I think, to be a voice for the ocean. And a lot of the politicians don't understand that, because they aren't in it firsthand. But I think there's a lot we can do, because we're the eyes and the ears, and I think it's part of our job as tenders of the great wild and of the ocean. And there's something about being in the ocean. I think we all sprung out of the primordial ooze, and when you're in the water, I don't know, there's something, you can feel it, I'm sure you're smiling, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
It's innate.
Oh yeah, been there, done that. Now, do you take any movies when you're under, or you just take just stills?
I
on
do
your
both,
photos?
mostly stills, only because most people seem more interested in stills than movies. Um, but my camera is capable of both. It's an underwater camera, and we go deep. I have a strobe, so I can get
Mm-hmm.
good light.
Mm-hmm.
But it's whatever the people want, and
Yeah.
so I've gotten pretty good
Well,
at it,
up here we're using GoPros up here a lot.
I started out with a GoPro, and I loved it, but
Yeah.
I drowned a couple of them. It was too easy to drown them. Maybe I'm rough on them. I don't
That
know.
happens.
So I bought a
Yeah.
camera that was made to be
I
underwater. um, and
yeah.
so far that one
Well, that's good
resists.
too.
I've been able to do that better. I don't know. I use it a lot, and you drown it and it's over so fast. Oh my God, what a sinking feeling. So now I
Yeah.
have a
Uh,
one that's made for underwater, so I don't have to worry about it.
yeah. We're thinking do you have any movies or any pictures that you'd like to send to our address, email address, and we could put them
Oh boy, do
into the
I!
file so that people can look at the stuff?
I would love to
We
do
put it in
that.
a
I tell
diver's
you.
guide. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
So you
got
got our email
hundreds.
address. You can send.
That'd be great.
Well, let's don't say hundreds, but say a few of your good
Well,
ones.
yeah. I know. you know, with every customer, I take lots of
We'd be
pictures.
glad to put them in. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate
But
that. Thank
some.
you.
Wants to write different stories for Diver's Guide, I can give her an access and she can post stories about
Uh,
her on her Diver's Guide.
Yeah, if you would like to write some stories on what you're doing, we could post it on our diver's guide here.
Oh,
That
how
would
awesome. In fact,
actually
I do
promote
have a
your stuff,
blog.
what you're doing every week, or if you do something special, or just something along that line, you want to write a little story about it.
I'd love to.
I'll send her a
Thank you.
username.
We'll send you a username. It's divers.net. Diversguide.net, but we'll send you user's name, and you can get in there and send stuff to us, and we can post it. We have quite a few people following it,
Oh,
and
that is
maybe.
great.
And if I ever get down that way, I will stop in.
Well, I'll tell you,
on that. So.
any of your people want to come south, I'll treat you right. That's the fun about a private charter. It's like you're just taking your friends out and showing them what you love, and it's nothing better.
Right, I know. I've done it. I know. But in the winter, you might get quite a few people heading down that way.
Oh yeah.
Up here,
yeah.
as I say, we have to cut holes in the ice to go diving up here. So.
Well, we still have to wear a
difficult
wetsuit in the winter. But we're not cutting holes in the ice, that's for sure.
Yeah, I believe you. I know your summers or your winters are probably the water's 70 degrees, probably not 80. So.
No, I would say.
Ours lucky if in the summertime it gets 70.
Yeah, 70s, low 70s. I can handle it.
Yeah. That's our high up here in the summer.
Yeah, 3 mil. 3.2.
Yeah.
If it gets really cold, I put a beanie on. Oh, it's awesome.
Do you have the lionfish down there? Do they have any impact down there? Or?
Well, yes, we're really getting quite an influx of lionfish. And then for anyone who doesn't know, lionfish are the invasive non-native population that's come from the Pacific, and they don't have natural predators. Now, what we've done, just like they're starting to do in the Bahamas and a lot of the other Caribbean islands, is we're having lionfish derbies because, come to find out, lionfish tastes good to eat. I guess you got to know how to clean it. But we're having lionfish derbies and spearing them, netting them, in the hordes. I do see them fairly regularly, especially on the Vandenberg, the deep wrecks. Mm-hmm. It's too bad they're bad because they're
well, that's good
very,
that you're trying to control them a little bit, anyways.
well, they're very colorful. They're very pretty. It's too bad that they're so bad, really, for the other fish. In fact, it's because they're just voracious eaters, and so they outcompete and eat tons of the small fish. But they're really quite something to see. Brightly colored. Don't touch them though. A bit spiky.
Yeah, yeah.
I was a shark shopper.
Do you have a lot of sharks down in that area, or is that not
We
many
do,
sharks there?
and when I first moved here, I intentionally didn't watch Jaws because I didn't want to be afraid. And but I've really never had trouble with the sharks. Mostly you see nurse sharks which lay on the bottom, and they're more bottom, sucker fish. They aren't going to bother you. The only people who really get in trouble with sharks are people who are spearfishing, which is quite a sport down here. And if they spearfish, they're putting blood in the water. You can attract some unwanted attention. I spearfish every now and then, but I'm very safe. I don't carry a fish bag. I spear a fish, I take it back to the boat. After 4 or 5 fish, I get in the boat and I move. That's my policy. But if you're not putting blood in the water, you really don't have anything to worry about. They're really more afraid of you than you are of them. If you're lucky, you'll see a shark.
The worst thing I ever seen. Yeah, I always wanted to see a shark, but the worst thing I seen was barracuda, and they didn't bother me. They looked like a big pike to me.
Barracuda by the hundreds down here, and they're snaggly, sharp teeth, pretty impressive, and they're curious, so they come up quite close, but really only just curious. Sometimes some big ones, 3-4 feet long. I'm giving you that old evil eye. Whew! Yeah, I can't help but have a little shiver, but I have to remind myself, they're just curious. Especially when you go deep. That's the worst. Sometimes when I dive the Vandenberg, they'll be out, you'll see 20 or 30 of them, and they're just hovering there, giving you the eye. Unnerving, but harmless. Again, unless you're hunting.
Yeah. Do you have any World War II military stuff that has been sunk down there, or like the warships or the oil tankers that might have got sunk by torpedoes? Or
well, Joe's Tug. That's not a warship, though. I'm trying to think. I don't think we have any other than the Vandenberg. That was an old Navy ship, but it was not a fighter. I think it actually had several incarnations and was rebuilt a couple of times. But more up the Keys, they've got the Spiegel Grove, the Cayman. Not so much the World War II. Although we do have a big Navy.
I know that a lot of them were
right
sunk.
Here. Yeah, not here.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think that we benefit really from the wrecks that we have because I really do believe they have taken pressure off the reef. So I'm pretty glad they're here.
Yeah. Do you go into the Gulf at all, Mexico, or do you stay out on the Atlantic side?
Mostly the Atlantic. The Gulf doesn't have as much coral. So there are a couple of secret spots in the back, an area we locally call Snipes, Marvin Key, and they have some isolated heads. But then it's just patch reef. So in the Gulf, it's usually a fallback place we go when the Atlantic is rough. So, but being an island, we have many, we can go any which way, which is gives us more choices. If it's choppy in the south, we go out the Gulf. Sometimes the Gulf is cloudy, we can go out the Atlantic, I guess now that I have this as a business, I have about 5 zillion apps on my phone, tides and visibility and weather here and weather there, and
Yeah.
but pretty much we can find you
Yeah.
a hidey hole.
Did when they had that oil spill there in the Gulf, did that have any effect on you a few years back?
Actually, we were spared. We were pretty nervous about it. We really were,
God.
because of what
Yeah,
we call
that's
the
good.
loop current there in the Gulf. But
Right.
not nary a spot of it. We really lucked out. So I can't say that
I
we
guess so.
had any damage. No.
That's great. That's really good. Uh, now, if you
See your information again. Ken just came on. He wasn't sure whether.
okay, your website, say that again for the
Oh,
viewers
I'd
that we've
love.
got on.
Sure, sure. For anyone who just joined, I'm Erica Berlin, scientific diver. Check me out on my website, Key West MarineEducationalTours.com. Actually, I'd also like to tell you I've got a great Facebook page too. Like me on Facebook or send me a request. And I've got also a blog that I've started. I've got a couple of posts now. So you can follow me on my blog. I talk about what we do. And I've got tons of pictures on my Facebook page. So like me on Facebook, and it's MarineEducationalTours.com.
Well, that's great. I wish we had more guests like you that carry the conversation real well.
Well, I tell
we got
you,
a lot to talk about, and
I
if you
do.
yeah.
I love it. I love it, and I want to share it, and I'll yap my trap anytime about the coral reef.
You have a monthly guest.
Yeah. Now we were thinking that if you'd want to be like, say, a monthly guest on the program and update us, we'd love to have you.
I would love to.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We can schedule sometime in July.
That would be terrific.
Maybe if you got some, if you had some pictures that you'd want to put on the show.
I would love to. Sure.
She can share her screen on her computer with our screen, so she can actually show what's on pictures on her screen.
Okay, you can share your pictures on your screen with our screen. You'd have like a split screen. You could have pictures on there, and you'd still be on. You could talk about them.
Nice.
My controller, my son, he would help you out on that. I'm sure how to do it if you're not sure.
Yeah, I'm a little unsure, but
so if you get something,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you get something good that you did something surprising, or you see something fish that you don't normally see, or something like that, maybe you'd want to share it with us.
I'd love
July.
to. I'd love to, and I can also share some of the events going on down here that are unique.
Right. That'd be great. We were just talking maybe the 30th of July. That's the last Wednesday of the month. If you'd like to be on then, that'd give you a whole month to plan something.
That's perfect.
And we'll get together.
The 30th of July is the opening day to lobster mini season, and I'm taking a group out, and we're going to catch some lobster. So I'll talk about that. That sounds great.
Oh. The only thing is, I don't want to see you eating lobster on our program because you don't share it with us.
I promise. Well,
because I like lobster too,
I gotta say, I think your lobster tastes better than our lobster. I'll give you that. But I think ours is more fun to catch.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we've had a good time here tonight, and we will catch you on the 30th. How's that? And,
tremendous.
I hope that
Thank you so much.
We have a lot of, and we thank you for coming on.
Okay, terrific.
This is Skip Couch. Yeah. Next week we have Tom's Diving Adventures in Idaho.
We got the footage from
And we have footage from the LaSalle project up in Lake Michigan, is it? Where they supposedly found yeah. Yeah, I can't think of the ship now. LaSalle ship, anyways. Oh, can't think of the name of it now, can I?
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, anyways, it's a Griffin. The Griffin. Yeah. They say they found the Griffin. So we should have some footage on that for next week. So that should be pretty interesting. And thanks again, Erica. I hope to see you on the 30th. And
You bet.
my
We'll miss
son
it.
will be in contact with you later. Yep. So this is Skip Couch signing off for tonight on Diverstalk.com, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Good night.